All right, we need to hurry this along, so listen up. I've got just over 2 hours to find all the ingredients I need for this dinner, so I'll need all the help I can get. I must be mad. Right, well, I better put you in the picture and get this show on the road. I'm a chef, you see, and I was working on a ship. Not just any ship either, but a floating palace called Titanic. I worked in a restaurant called the Ritz. That was one up on the first-class restaurant, and that was 5-star itself. We were a la carte. That meant the knobs got to order whatever food tickled their fancy. So you can imagine the workload for the likes of me. I'm starting at this place because if you can't find an ingredient in Sawyer's, you might as well forget about it. I'm going to leave you with Kieran Sloan, the proprietor of Sawyer's, who knows a thing or two about food. Right? Get yourselves in, and remember, mind your toes. Come on.
Welcome to Sawyer's. Sawyer's was established in 1897 as probably one of Ireland's longest run delis. You know, we've diversified, and as you see when you go in here, we'll let you try some nice different samples and things like that there. But today we've got the born old, or the beautiful old Belfast Bop, a lovely Irish dry cured bacon here, okay? So it's delicious. This is completely different bacon from the supermarket. There's no white scummy stuff comes around the pan. It stays the same size when you pan fry it or grill it, and it's just completely different now, okay? So if you want to grab a wee bit of bop first. There you are. Go ahead. Have some.
That's very tasty, isn't it? Just whatever's coming, no problem, yeah.
Now, you probably want to know about this dinner I'm cooking. I've been asked to cook the first-class dinner from Titanic, one of these 10-course effort chef was so fond of. If I do a decent job, I'm up to cook the big centenary dinner in 2012. So it would be some humiliation if I don't get it. Me, who helped cook the original. We've got to be at our next embarkation point as soon as possible. Otherwise, we'll miss the grub. So no dandering. It's about a 10-minute walk from here. But you're going to do it in 5. Follow me. Before we go into this establishment, the Mourne Seafood Bar, I want to tell you, you're in for a rare treat. For the finest fish and seafood comes from these waters. The best food I ever tasted? I'll tell you honestly. When I was away myself and staying with my grandparents on holiday near Dundrum, my granda would bring a string of whiting in from the fishing boat, and my gran would boil them up into soup with the water still dripping off them. Half a dozen potatoes coarsely chopped, a couple of onions, then chop the heads, scales and fins of 4 whiting, quarter each one, season with salt and pepper, throw the lot into a pot of boiling water for 20 minutes. Simple maybe, but the most beautiful soup you ever tasted.
So, when we opened the restaurant, our whole ethos was to put a huge emphasis on using sustainable, local, fresh seafood. And you see here, it's a simple process. We buy the fish from Kilkee, and we buy alternative species of fish, like this is a pinhead, which a lot of people would use. Now we buy in commercial bass from across the water, but this is the basic closest thing we'll have to sea bass. It's all local, it's all fresh. Things like lemon soles we got here. We got a lovely turbot here as well. You can see here we have Strangford Loch mussels, and also we have Dundrum Bay oysters. Basically the type of oyster we use is a Pacific oyster. Native flat oysters are really susceptible to disease, and it takes twice as long to sort of get to this size. This from seedling with about 18 months to 2 years to get to this size.
I got my oysters, and they still taste like an angel's kiss. Oh. Well, a sloppy one anyway. Hard to believe now, but you're looking at the oldest tea house in Belfast. Tim's it was called, packed with people knocking back their coffee and gossiping, like a pub without beer, if you can imagine such a thing. Last I heard, it's been taken over by pigeons in recent years. Back in my day, we had a simple remedy for that problem. Pigeon pie. I tell you, it's funny being here. I remember this place when it was a warehouse belonging to Bushmills Whiskey. I have a story about whiskey too, but it can wait. I'll be getting my cheeses here, and you'll get to sample a few. I hear the proprietor keeps an excellent cellar, so I'll be stocking up with wine for my other 5 courses. Well, man cannot live on beer alone. Well, my great-granda give it a good try. Come on.
We're here to talk about cheese today on my part of your tour. We've got the little soft round bowl, it's called bolla, and it's a goat's cheese. It's made by 5 Mile Town Creamery from the west of the province. And it's not a sharp cheese, it's what we call it in the cheese trade, he said. It's a soft, it's a fresh cheese, and they preserve it in oil with herbs and spices in it. And the middle one is a smoked brie, and that's also from 5 Mile Town. And but we'll tell you what to do. Maybe we'll have a bit of biscuit and a bit of pear and each cheese, and we'll sort of go through them. So start with the goat's cheese. It's nice to get all the flavours together. You know, that's the idea of the tasting sensation, if you like.
See, Belfast's mineral water companies were the world leaders in soft drinks from my great-granda's day. And it was here they developed ginger ale. In fact, it used to be called the Belfast Ginger Ale. Some smart boy in Canada had the cheek of making his own version of our ginger ale. John McLaughlin's Belfast Style Ginger Ale, he called it. Last I heard, he dropped the Belfast bit and was calling it a Canada Dry Ginger Ale. So I suppose he never caught on. All this talk of whiskey and water is making me thirsty. Let's go into the kitchen bar here and see if we can scrounge one. Come on. Sometimes it seemed that every woman anyway in Belfast was a baker. Recipes for all our breads, potato, wheat and soda, all came down through the family. Every woman had a slightly different version. The secret is, we use rich Irish buttermilk, not yeast, so it's quicker, easier, and more delicious to eat. And we use a griddle to cook ours on. That's a round metal plate you heat over the oven. I got mine from my mates at Harland and Wolf. They'd make them from the metal plates to cut out of the portholes before they put the glass in. Didn't miss a trick, those boys. I always loved a market. It's where the country comes to the city. You're talking direct to people who run the farm, grow the vegetables, tend the animals, and process the fish. And in Belfast, you get a bit of banter to go along with it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where can I get all this food he keeps jawing on about? Well, here's the good news. Everything I've talked about, you can get inside here in St. George's Market, and most of it at Sawyer's too. Yellow man and dulce, dry cured bacon, fish just off the boats, the finest oysters and langoustines so fresh, they're still alive. All those wonderful breads and teas and coffees from all over the world. The freshest fruit and vegetables fit for royalty. And the finest chocolate your taste buds will ever be acquainted with. I bid you farewell. The pleasure has been all mine. Thank you very much.